Who is winning the battle between Texas Governor Greg Abbott and the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams? Before we get into what these two are doing back and forth, I want to share with you a map that I think explains a lot of what's happening here. You see, this map to me says it all. All these spots highlighted on this map are sanctuary cities, counties, and states across the United States of America. It's not hard to spot that progressive areas like New York, or even into Denver, or over here in the Northwest, Oregon and Washington and California, they all have a lot of these sanctuary cities and states. Most of those areas, barring California's inclusion, really don't deal with a huge influx of illegal immigrants. Florida, however, you don't see any cities or counties that are taking in immigrants on a sanctuary level. And Texas, nothing to be found. So that gets us to this pretty jaw dropping number. These are the border encounters in Texas by month for the year 2022. April, 235,000, May, 240,000, June, 207,000 people. In the heat of the summer sun, 207,000 people in 1 month are trying to cross the southern border. Now we get to what Greg Abbott wanted to do about this. The governor of Texas said enough is enough. We've got to show these states that are suggesting we're xenophobes for wanting to have some of these immigration laws or to send some people back where they came from to give them a bit of a taste of their own medicine. And here's what happened.
Good evening, Lori. 54 people arrived here at the Port Authority terminal this morning. That bus from Texas left on Wednesday, but officials here had no idea it was heading this way. We are told that nonprofit organizations were made aware by some family members of those who were on that bus. Now, the question tonight is, where will these migrants be spending the night? At around 6:30 this morning, a bus from Texas full of migrants pulled up to the Port Authority bus terminal. Authorities here had no idea they were heading this way.
So the governor of Texas says, let's start putting some of these folks on buses and sending them to cities and states, including New York City and Washington, D.C., where they say we will accept you in with open arms. We have programs that won't refuse any of you. So if that's the best place to send them, Governor Abbott says in Texas, let's send them there. And that he does. Very soon after, the second bus headed into New York.
A second bus full of migrant families has arrived in New York City from Texas. New York's Mayor Eric Adams was there to greet the bus, which was sent by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. The city is accepting the migrants, but is asking for federal help as Abbott now threatens to send more people north. Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
So they said, we already need some federal help here. After a couple of buses and maybe in total a few thousand people were sent up to the Northeast to these programs that they said would welcome them forever and again. And then in D.C., there was an implosion.
At 6:32, bus by bus, more migrants are arriving in the nation's capital as part of Governor Greg Abbott's plan to put pressure on the White House.
More than a day's drive to Washington from the Texas border. Nicole D'Antonio from our sister station in Washington was there as the bus pulled in overnight.
Take a look.
She has the latest for us now.
Well, just before 5 o'clock, a second bus arrived right here in Washington, D.C., outside of Union Station behind me. We were here when a group of nearly a dozen migrants who traveled from Texas to Washington, D.C. arrived. While some say this is their final destination, others went inside Union Station behind me, looking to go to other cities, including New York. Now, take a look at this video here, because our cameras were rolling when that second bus first arrived here. Texas Governor.
So there they are. These are the people that were bussed in by the governor of Texas. And he's sort of saying, look, you suggested that this was something that you would be better suited to do. So let's see, let's put this to the test. Keep in mind, these are small buses full of people with nowhere near these kind of numbers that you're seeing heading into any of these cities. But in D.C., we had a complete meltdown, and they're begging for any kind of federal help they can get. It's a crisis.
This morning, the mayor of Washington, D.C. has requested the help of the National Guard to assist with the buses of migrants arriving to her city, which she described as a growing humanitarian crisis.
We expect to escalate the number of people crossing the border seeking asylum.
The crisis began in April when Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey started sending busloads of migrants to Washington, D.C.
So this has become a crisis already, and not just in D.C., in New York as well. They're using those kind of phrases.
New York's mayor is also asking the federal government for help. His office says about 4,000 asylum seekers have entered the city's homeless shelter system since late May.
If there was ever an all-hands-on-deck moment, this is it.
So they're kind of all freaking out. And he said again, 4,000 people. I can't show you this enough, but that's nothing compared to what they see on the southern border every single month. Hundreds of thousands of people sometimes. And if they put up any resistance to this, there's a huge, huge backlash that they usually face. But when posed with the same situation, the mayor of New York and the mayor of DC and governors of other states seem to be freaking out. There's some other problems going on because some of the people being bused to New York are actually not going there because they're scared. There was 40 people that were supposed to get off of one of these migrant buses. Only 14 actually got off. So who's winning this battle? The mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, said in October of 2021, we should protect our immigrants, period. Yes, New York City will remain a sanctuary city under an Adams administration. Now he's shuffling as fast as he can the deck to try to handle this tiny influx of immigrants headed to New York. They're going to have to buy out hotel rooms with New York taxpayer money. They're going to have to try to find any way that they can to take these people in because by law, it is a state where you can get sanctuary and shelter is a right in New York. So they cannot even turn these people away if they keep coming and coming and coming. So I'm sure he's thoroughly happy about it. Well, maybe not so much. Here's Mayor Eric Adams.
I already called all of my friends in Texas and told them how to cast their vote. And I am deeply contemplating taking a busload of New Yorkers to go to Texas and do some good old-fashioned door knocking because we have to, for the good of America, we have to get him out of office.
You got to get him out of office. And I'm going to take a busload of New Yorkers and bring them down to Texas. To me, this just shows what the impact is that's felt by people in border states every single day. The reality of taking in this kind of number of immigrants is something that could very easily seem easy to you from afar. But when you're right there on the front lines, you understand that this is impossible to keep up over long periods of time. So something needs to be done about it. Who do you think is winning in this battle between the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, and the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams? It would appear to me that already this early on in things, one of them is starting to crumble a bit. Let me know what you think. Facebook.com/The News Junkie. Hit that follow button. YouTube.com/The News Junkie. Hit subscribe. Thank you for your comments as always. I'll see you in the comments section. We'll talk to you again real soon.